Hey cuties, I'm Lanikia, and you're watching What Happened on the Soap Season 2 Housewives. All right, guys, let's get right into this. On a scale of 1 to 10, y'all know I'm giving this a 9. This was a good episode, y'all. It has moved the story along so much. Forgive me if I don't get all of this together. I tried to like keep all of the people. There was a lot of movement today, so I'm gonna try to keep it all together. But y'all just bear with me on this one. All right. So, y'all, we're going to start with Britt, Maxie, and Cody. So, Maxie and Britt are enjoying time at the Metro Court. And here comes Aaron, the little boy that didn't get fired, who is taking money from Cody. And so, every time Britt shows up at the Metro Court, he's going to tell Cody so that Cody can come see Britt. So he buys Britt, Maxie, and Cody buys Britt and Maxie drinks and everything, and then Maxie goes to the bathroom, and so then Cody starts talking to Britt, and she's telling her, okay, well, Maxie found out he was the one Britt had a terrible date with, but he's telling her he's sorry, he shouldn't have been a different person with her. He wants another chance. He wants to get to know her, but Britt is not having it, and so he keeps bringing up, because Britt is really depressed about her mortality, and so that's what she thinks about. So he said something to the nature of when you're 50 years old, and I guess wrinkles and all that kind of, like when you get of that age, you're gonna wish you had, used some kind of protection. I don't know if they were talking about some. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I blacked out a little bit because these two are not that interesting to me. I'm sorry, they're not that interesting to me. I would have liked to see Britt with Drew. I don't think Cody is worth her time, to be quite honest with you. And plus, he has ulterior motives. Britt has been through enough. Like, she's done a lot, and she had finally found love, and y'all killed her love off or whatever. So now she's has to be with Cody, and I'm like, he's not. Mm-mm. But anyways, so Britt leaves. Maxie comes back, and Britt ends up leaving because she doesn't want to be around Cody, and he keeps trying to be in a relationship and everything with her, and assuming that he knows her and everything. And she's just like, oh, I don't want it. So then Maxie and Cody talk, and I said, okay, let's go through this. So Maxie and Cody realized I put them at the beginning. I put people at the beginning I want to just get over with. So Maxie and Cody talk or whatever, and she is pretty much just like, y'all excuse Mila. She is very excited. She's finally got her hour of TV and getting it in today, so she's overly excited. Okay, so then Cody and Maxie speak or whatever, and he gives her a cute little passport. Now this was cute. Like, he gave her a passport, just saying that it would be like he wanted to give it to Britt, and it would be a passport for all the places they go on their adventures. And the first one was like the stables and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cute. He told Maxie, can you give it to Britt? She said, She was like, if you want to be with Britt, you're gonna have to get some tough skin. You're gonna have to keep pursuing her and everything. She's not gonna be easy to crack. And so that was it. She was just giving him advice on Brit, but she told him, "I'm not getting in the middle of it, though." Ooh, this is my part right here when when Jordan started telling Nicholas, started asking him about Oz and all this, and he was like, "No, ain't nobody been in the house." She said, "Well, who was at the house yesterday?" He said, "Well, Ava and Ava was gone to Trina's trial. Spencer and I were out, so it was just Esme." And she said, okay, well, Oz got on the launch to come to Windermere, but he didn't leave that way. Could somebody told him how to get off the island? And he said, I don't know, because Nicholas really is in the dark. He doesn't know. And so she started telling him about Oz and how he sells black market phones and everything. And she starts telling Nicholas about how Oz is in the hospital, and he was, it was because of drugs, and they were just she said, so she doesn't imply, but she kind of says, if Esme is around or whatever, like if you talk to Esme, let us know if she knows anything. And then she says, he says the only person that was there is Esme and the staff, and he was like, well, I'm going to talk to the staff and everything. But after hearing everything Jordan had to say, Nicholas started piecing stuff together. So then we see Jordan goes to Britt because Britt has went to work or whatever, And Jordan goes up there and she starts asking Britt questions about Oz. And she said, "Is this an investigation or whatever?" And Jordan says, not official, but she just has questions. But how about if she asks a question and Britt can or cannot give her information? So she tells her about the Oz, and she says, well, he's not connected in the pharmacy. So then Britt gets concerned. She said, I thought when Cyrus went away that took drugs out. Do we need to be looking out for drugs and everything? And Jordan says no, she just thinks it is an isolated incident. She said, but um then Britt starts telling her, well, they say Curtis has been, around the clock at Oz's door. And she said he has a personal stake in, what's going on with him. And so then Britt starts putting the stuff together. And then when they start talking about the medicine and stuff, she remembers that Spencer told her that the pills were Esme's. And because the pills were Esme's and everything, that she, when learning about Oz and that he sold the black market phone and everything, and it has to do with Trina's case, she's starting to understand, like, oh my gosh, this got something to do with Spencer and Esme. So then Jordan is asking Britt, can she give her information about, because she does say somebody was asking me about this type of pill or whatever, and what can it do for you? So Jordan is like, can you tell me who the person was, because it might have something to do to help Trina's case. And Britt doesn't want to say, because she doesn't want, she realizes now what Spencer was doing, and she doesn't want to get him in trouble. So Jordan says, look, I know you're trying to protect that person, but this is a matter of this case, and we need to know. So we're gonna see what Britt does, y'all. So then baby Nicholas is going off the edge. He start remembering everything about Esme, how he was supposed to keep an eye on her. Because Nicholas, that's what you started off saying, because you didn't trust Esme at first either. But then he thinks about how Sonny and Ava and everybody warned him about Esme, but he wouldn't listen. And he thinks about how this person thought, the evidence all points to Trina, how she was so adamant that everything points to Trina. It's all Trina. Everybody keeps accusing me, but it's Trina. And then he thinks about how she played him. He, about wanting to get her internship, about, oh, I I just gotta get this off my chest about what we did. And he realizes, because I don't know, Nicholas been in some kind of fog, but he realizes, oh my God, this girl has played me. And so he go to the desk and he run and get his keys, and he about to run out the door, and Victor is there. And Victor's like, what's the hurry? And he said, I got to get to the courthouse to speak to Ava and Spencer before Esme. And so he said, what Esme got to do with, like, what is this? He said, my life is going to be over. My marriage is going to be over. And Victor's like, what Esme got to do with your marriage? What could she possibly say to Ava? And then Nicholas looked down, and Victor said, sorry. And then Nicholas said, and Victor said, oh my gosh, Nicholas, are you serious right now? And Nicholas said, yes, don't judge me. He said, I'm not judging you. I'm assessing the situation and what the situation looks like right now. He said, now you got to give it to Esme. She's a clever one. Ma'am. She's a clever one. She played you. And he said, but as head of this household, I'm going to tell you one thing. Oh my. He said, as head of this household, I'm going to take this over right here. And Nicholas said, you can't kill Esme. He said, why? She got to go. She got to be evicted from the house and everything. She got to go. And he said, you can't kill her. That'll only make it worse. He said, well, why can't we get rid of her? It would help if we just went ahead and was done with her or whatever. And it would stop all your problems. And he was like, no, I need to be a better man. Laura was worried that I was going to spiral and go back to my old ways. And he said killing Esme would be exactly that. So I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to man up and own up to my mistakes to Ava and Spencer. And Victor's like, well, why would you do that? But anyways, Nicholas just tells Victor, I'm doing this. Now I'm about to go to this courthouse. He said I could drive. I said I don't think you should take Victor ride, but I guess it's fine because we see he makes it to the courthouse. But anyway, let's say it. Victor is me. If I had money, I'd be like, let's get rid of this problem. No, I wouldn't. Yes, I would. Let's move on. So then we see Ryan and Esme. So Ryan is in there with Esme, and she telling him, about everything going on with um the with Nicholas, and how she got him to get her reinstated, and how Kevin had banned her from being there and everything. And he's like, oh, family. And sometimes they're not worth the trust. She said, well, I hope that's not what you mean, because she said, I did a lot to help you or whatever. And so, anyways, he tells her, what you come here for. And so she starts telling him about, she just listed all out about how Spencer has found her mother, and because of that, he's telling her she needs to exonerate Trina, or she's never gonna know. And she said, so, I want to know my mother, who my mother is. And he was like, Ryan was like, how did Spencer get that information? She said, he's his uncle Victor. And he was like, "Oh well, yeah, they do got resources." He said, "But Cassidy is bluffing." And she said, "There is a DNA test." And he said, "Oh please, Esme, um, that could be forged." And she said, "He has." Esme believes Spencer, because she said he has access to my DNA. His uncle Victor has the resources. I don't think he's bluffing or whatever, girl. But anyways, she told Ryan, she was like, I need your help getting out of this. And this is exactly what I thought. Ryan is not able to help this girl. He was like, I can't. I mean, what is he supposed to do? What is he supposed to do, ma'am? And so she's just like, she's freaking out, because then, Spencer texts her, and he tell her, Ryan snatches the phone out of her hand, and he says, not on my watch, not on my time or whatever. And she says, she was just like, I need help. Like, what? Tell me about my mom. So he tells her that he didn't know her mother's name at the time. But I was like, he said at the time, Esme, at the time he didn't know her name. He said, but they had this incredible love, and she was someone he could be himself around. And then she just left him and everything. And he's acting like he doesn't know where she is. I'm like, I'm so confused on this. Is Felicia this girl mama or not? But then he won't tell Esme anything, because he's acting like he doesn't know who her mother is and everything. And so Esme was like, so she was just some hookup? And he said, no, she was so much more than that. And I said, well, then tell her what much more she was. And he was just like, that's when he started telling her, she let me be myself. And she was so, she was, I guess, the love that he had for her and everything. And he told Esme, he was like, as soon as this is all over, we could go and find your mother together. But before that, she told him, she said, if I get caught for this phone and stuff, um, I'm I'm gonna have to turn you in. And then he goes up to her and he hugs her, and she started crying. And I said, because at the end of the day, now Esme is evil, but she's still just a child, a young child, a young teenage child or whatever. So she starts crying and stuff with him, and he was like, "Don't worry, we're gonna find your mother together. I promise." And she said, "No promises, or whatever," and she leaves. Excuse me. So then we see Rory and Trina, and um, they're they were talking, and he tells her it's not worth it because Spencer has came into the courthouse. And she said, I know. But then she goes to Spencer, and she was like, what are you doing here? And he was like, I'm here to help. And she said, but you're on the DA's side or whatever. And he was like, he still wants to help her. And then Taggart asks Ava, like, what is he doing here? Is he here to help Trina? Like, what is he gonna say? And she says, I have no idea. So then Trina and Spencer are still talking about, him being on Esme's side when the DA says, Mr. Cassidy or whatever, I need a word with you. And so she tells Spencer, where is Esme? And he said, I don't know. And she said, I need her here. He said, yeah, me too. And she said, excuse me? He was like, I'm calling her to get here now or whatever, see where she is. And she was like, good. And so then we see Trina and Josh talk, and she says, I can't believe he came and says he's gonna support me. And Jocelyn says, don't even think about him, don't even worry about him or whatever. We just focus on having a good trial today. And so then they get Spencer on the stand, and he does help Trina without helping Trina, because he made an opening where he said that at one point Esme had went back to the house, or he didn't know where Esme was at one point, so he couldn't account for all of her whereabouts as well. And then the DA had to get reprimanded because she kept trying to say things to make it seem like Trina was the only person in at the house and everything. But I think Spencer did, like, he answered the questions yes or no, but he did leave an opening for a Diane. So then after he gets done, they're not gonna go. I said, well, why y'all not going right to Diane cross-examining him? But they said, no, we're gonna take a little recess, girl, and then we're gonna come back. I said, okay. So then they then Trina goes and she confronts Spitzer about how could you help Esme, or over me or whatever. And Rory said he's not worth it, Trina. And she was like, you know what, you're absolutely right. And and so she leaves. And then Taggart, Diane, and Trina all convene, and she tells them, she says Spencer left the opening about Esme's whereabouts. So when we get Esme on the stand, we're gonna cross-examine her about that. And so then the DA calls Esme. Now she was with Ryan at this time, but she calls Esme and said, where are you?" And she said, I'm on my way. I'm on my way." And she said, "You got 10 minutes to get here. Or I'm gonna hold you in contempt." And so then we see Rory and Josh talk, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't help treat this case yesterday." And she said, "No, you did good. You did what you answered the questions like you were supposed to." And he was like, "But it didn't help. I wish I could have done more for her and everything." And then she said, to let her know I'm here to support her. And Josh was like, she was holding your hand while kicking Spencer in the teeth. He said, "Yeah, but you can clearly see that she still has feelings for Spencer." And she says, "Spencer was a friend, but nah, sir, she likes you. She's over Spencer." I said, "I don't know about that girl." And then because Trina did tell Josh for a second there, I thought Spencer was there for me. So then we see Ava get behind Spencer, and she said, "I see what you did." And he was like, "What you talking about, Ava?" She said, you had an opportunity to give Esme an airtight alibi, but you didn't, or whatever." And he said, "I don't know what you're talking about." She said, "But I think you do." No, but it begs the question of whose side are you really on? And that was the end of it, y'all. So that was General Hospital. It is so good. I didn't even need to see Cody and all them. Like, this trial is so good to me because they're moving it forward, which is what we've been wanting them to do. So I'm excited about seeing how this goes, and baby, especially when Nicholas started having that panic attack. I said, "Now see, everybody tried to tell you Esme was crazy and you leave her alone and get her out your house, but you would not listen. And now Esme finna go to the courtroom and she's happy as a hen about all the destruction she's done to your marriage and the Trina and everybody." So we're gonna see how this all turns out. But that was General Hospital. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you next time on all. Oh no, wait. On What Happened on the Soaps General Hospital edition.